Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Santa's life can be difficult. When 4 of Santa's elves got sick, the trainee elves did not produce the toys as fast as the regular ones, and Santa began to feel the pre-Christmas pressure. Then Mrs. Claus told Santa her mother was coming to visit, which really stressed Santa even more. When he went to harness the reindeer, he found that 3 of them were about to give birth, and 2 others had jumped the fence and were gone, heaven knows where. Then when he began to load the sleigh, one of the floorboards cracked. The toy bag fell to the ground, and all the toys were scattered. Frustrated, Santa went into the house for a glass of cider and a shot of rum. When he went to the cupboard, he discovered the elves had drunk all the cider and hidden the rum. In his frustration, he accidentally dropped the cider jug, and it broke into hundreds of little glass pieces all over the kitchen floor. He went to get the broom, and found the mice had eaten all the straw off the end of the broom. Just then, the doorbell rang, and an irritated Santa marched to the door, yanked it open, and there stood a little angel with a great big Christmas tree. The angel said very cheerfully, "Merry Christmas, Santa. Isn't this a lovely day? I have a beautiful tree for you. Where would you like me to stick it?" And so began the tradition of the little angel on top of the Christmas tree, and not a lot of people know this. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, morning. Good morning, I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 great locations serving you, wishing you a very Merry Christmas, along with some of our great advertisers that include, of course, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call them at 734-6969. Well, good morning, little angel.
Maybe that's why I can't find the angel to put on my Christmas tree this year.
We found a beautiful angel.
Did you?
Yes, Deanne found a beautiful angel. We've been looking for one for a long time, and it is absolutely perfect for the top of our Christmas tree.
Well, see, I had one that had been passed down. It was originally my grandmother's, and my mother had it, and then she passed it down to us. Well, we had it out last year, but for some reason I can't find that particular box this year.
Oh.
I'm thinking the angel might be on strike.
Well, now you know the origination of where the angel put the tree.
I love that. Did you have a wonderful weekend?
I did. We didn't do a whole lot. I watched a lot of football and absolutely had a sweating, absolutely mental condition type event yesterday with Green Bay trying to beat Dallas by 1 point in the last quarter.
You know, I was completely out of the football swing. I worked a little bit on Saturday, and then yesterday I spent all day up at Pomerelle.
Really? You had a great outdoors weekend.
I did. I'm sore. And I fell on my bum, I think, about 10 times.
Oh, well, listen, I used to ski. Seriously, I used to ski. I used the outriggers, you know.
Right.
And learn how to ski like that. And I made it a point that I could cover. I very famously have said this. I could cover all 4 points of the compass at the same time.
I think I did that a couple times yesterday. And boy, howdy, am I going to be feeling it today. And
I'm too old for that, man.
You know, it's a lot of fun, so I had a great time.
And you got some fresh air, which there was a lot of to be had.
You know, and Pomerelle was beautiful yesterday. You got up above the inversion, and it was to the point where, honestly, I didn't need my snow jacket at all.
Really?
It was gorgeous up there.
Oh,
gorgeous.
my goodness. Don't you get sick on us now.
Oh, I'm not going to.
All right. Do we have a caller?
We have Al on for the pledge and Mr. Michael Rogers on for the
Well, Al, good morning, my dear friend. Give us the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless you, my dear friend. I said, good morning, my dear friend, and how are you and that lovely wife of yours?
Well, I'm not sitting on top of the Christmas tree.
You behave yourself or she'll put you there.
No, I enjoyed that game yesterday, I tell you. He pulled it out, but boy.
You know, really, when you think about it, though, and a lot of people are saying, well, yeah, the Dallas defense, but when you're down like 26-3 and you come back and win the game 37-36, wow, with a backup quarterback and a line that's been riddled with injuries, that's pretty impressive.
Okay, and then yesterday I noticed this, that the Green Bay's quarterback was sitting there on the sidelines with Rodgers, and they were talking back and forth. You don't see that much on the other teams.
No, I'll tell you what, there seems to be a lot of jealousy, but Aaron Rodgers absolutely helping. Of course, Matt Flynn, an outstanding quarterback when he played for Green Bay the first time.
Yeah.
All right, my friend, I got to run, but Merry Christmas to you.
Have a good one.
Thank
Bye.
you. It's time for the weather. Here's Michael, RogersWeather.com.
Good morning, everybody. I got a question for you before I get started. You got snow on the ground up there in the eastern Magic Valley of Murtaugh there?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. This summer I predicted I'd be surprised if you got any snow for Christmas, but it looks like you're going to get some here on Thursday. Morning, everybody. It just will not warm up. I am sorry about that, but you know, hey, on Sunday, where Green Bay came from behind to beat Dallas, that warmed up everything. You got a high today of 38 and a high tomorrow of 41. Sunny clouds are in the forecast. Sunny clouds all the way to Thursday. Then you got snow on the ground on Thursday, and I think you're going to get enough that you're going to have that white Christmas that's going to stick around for a while. But other than that, start of a brand stinking new week of you, me, and weather. And that's all I'm going to say about the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. Call it what you want. The boys found a way to lose. They had Monty Kiffin to thank for it. They had Orlando Scandrick, formerly of Boise State, to even help them out. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow morning.
No. That was a good play-by-play, Michael. I appreciate that. MichaelRogersWeather.com, brought to you by Zeb at the Ranch, right here every morning at 8:08. We're running a little bit late this morning. I want to remind you about Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Oh, they've got gift cards available. That's right, prepaid gift cards. What a nice Christmas stocking stuffer to find those in your stocking and say, oh boy, when I got my Rempley Crumplies, I can take them in there and have them cleaned so they look brand spanking new. At Daryl's Cleaners, the best cleaners anywhere at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Also, talking about the best of people, I want to mention SafeLink Internet. Oh, my goodness. They are Idaho's #1 choice in wireless high-speed Internet. The nicest people. They sent me the nicest card prior to my surgery, and I really appreciate that. And free installations and unlimited data, no contracts, no credit checks, no high prices. They're there to serve you. Call Shane and the crew today at 677-8000. SafeLink Wireless Internet, absolutely the best. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What is it, 9 shopping days now left until Christmas? And yours truly didn't get a whole lot done this weekend, so I've got to get into town and get some Christmas shopping done sometime this week. A lot of things going on. I want to talk about one of the most heart-wrenching occasions that I've seen in a long time on television, and I want to talk about the Army-Navy game in just a few moments, so stand by. It was unbelievable. The Book Plaza at 222 West 11th Street in Burley with Colonel Dale and the rest of the crew. They've got over 3 floors of gifts and books, and they've got over 200,000 books. I don't know who counted them. I don't know, but they're there. And the Book Plaza is also the home of the National Pioneer Hall of Fame. You will not go away empty-handed. They've got greeting cards, crafts, everything you need at the Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. You stop in, and they wish you and yours a very, very Merry Christmas. Oh, by the way, also want to remind you about the Mini-Cassia Area Merchants Association and shop locally. Great stores in the Burley and Rupert area to do all your Christmas shopping. Support your friends and neighbors who own local businesses and shop them first before taking your money out of town. I'm telling you, you got to have a sense of community. You got to have a sense of, hey, listen, I'm going to support my local folks. Well, that's what it's all about. The Mini-Cassia Area Merchants Association saying Merry Christmas to you. All right. I watched the Army-Navy game on Saturday. Now, as far as a football game is concerned, no, it wasn't that good a football game. Yes, Navy won quite handily, and they have for a lot of the last couple of years. I think they've won like 10 or 11 straight or something. But I saw an extreme competition between two factions, Army-Navy, representing our military. But I saw something else on this game Saturday. And I'm sure that a lot of you, if you watched the game, you noticed it too. I saw a lot of class. I saw a lot of class. It was a very, very cold, snowy day where they played the game. Both teams gave it their all. Navy won, as I said. But at the end of the game, here's what I wanted to comment on this morning, and it brought tears to my eyes, and I'm not ashamed of it. At the end of the game, Army and Navy standing there as their hymns of honor were played and they sang. I was extremely moved by that situation. And the camera, I'm having a hard time with this already again this morning. The camera panned all the contestants in that game, Army and Navy. And the camera stopped on an Army player that was bloodied. His face was all beat up, nose bleeding, had a cut above his eye. He was all muddy from the playing in the snow and the conditions. And he was shivering so bad from the cold, it was uncontrollable. He was just absolutely freezing. And he stood there at attention, so proud of his country, and both services, the Army and the Navy, standing shoulder to shoulder. Wow, that was impressive. That is the United States of America. God bless all of them. Calls are welcome, 436-2244-1-866-927-4587. It just really hit me hard watching that game on Saturday, believe me. So much patriotism. Yes, they were out for 4 quarters trying to play a regular football game, if you will. Hitting, tackling, passing, running. But at the end of that game, when they all came together, it was one of the most emotional things I've ever seen in my life. Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop, 1243 Blue Lakes Boulevard in Twin Falls. Number to call, 736-2490. You didn't get that number? I'll say it again slower. 736-2490. Had an accident? Fender bender? Ooh, your new pick-em-up truck's got a crinkle in it? Well, you want it fixed? Get the good guys to fix it at Middlecoff Body Shop, 736-2490. I know they can do the job. They've worked for me, and testimonial is they're the best. They strive to make all your vehicle repairs undetectable at Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop, 736-2490 at 1243 Blue Lakes Boulevard in Twin Falls. Really nice people. Oh, and don't forget my friends, Ramsey Heating and Electric. Hello, Keith. Keith's getting his voice already. La, 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 la. He's getting everything ready to go. Because Thursday night at 5:30, we're all going to gather over there at his parking lot at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And we're going to get together and sing Christmas carols at the first annual Zeb Christmas Carol Cowboys Singing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, you stop into Ramsey's anytime. Don't forget they've got the heat lamps. They've got the extension cords. They've got all your furnace air filters. Everything for this cold winter. They're open at 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, serving you Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. All right, now it's your turn. Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Like to hear what you have to say. By the way, have you folks out there in the audience at all been following this story about a drunk punk rich kid that last June hit and killed 4 people? And the judge, if you want to call this person a judge, lets this kid off with nothing more than probation because of what was termed by his attorneys, the kid suffers from affluenza. Affluenza. He's so wealthy and comes from such a rich family. They never taught him right or wrong. They never punished him. So the kid didn't understand right and wrong, and the judge bought into this defense and basically let the kid go with nothing more than not even a slap on the wrist. And he's going to be serving probation. This kid should have had the book thrown at him for the first time in his life to maybe clean up his life. And they're letting him walk. The judge lets him off. No jail time. This is insane. And it's a complete miscarriage of justice. Now, rich or poor, when a crime is committed, my goodness sakes, there has to be responsibility and retribution. Now, if that boy had come from a poor family, if that boy had come from perhaps a racial family other than white, possibly, there would have been severe dictates from the judge. Maybe a almost life sentence. But there was nothing. They let this drunk, punk, rich kid off on probation. No punishment. What is this kid going to learn? If anything, probably nothing, by what the judge did for him. You got to call me and let me know your thoughts on this. It's been very well publicized, and I'm sure you've heard about it. Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, I want to say thank you this morning to Valleywide Home and Ranch and Steve and Mandy and everybody over there at Valleywide. They were so doggone nice to us last Thursday when we had that ripping good remote broadcast over there from 8 to 11, and all the people that came over there, all the people that were buying everything from holy cow boots to tack to feed. I mean, I couldn't believe it. There were a lot of our friends over there, and we certainly hope you were there too, enjoying the great sale. Well, get ready for Christmas. Shop right there at Valleywide Home and Ranch. For the farm, the home, and the family, it's all there. Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. You stop in, and please see them today. Come on, give me a call on that story about that rich kid. Would you please? I'd like to hear what you have to say. And while I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in this morning, I want to remind you about some of our Merry Christmas wishes. This is from Jimmy at People's Quality Pack. And hello, Jimmy. How you doing? There's an old bull rider that absolutely is a good old boy. For all your custom cut meats and wrap, call Jimmy at 436-4557 at People's Quality Pack. AMI 719 Overland and Burley. Look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door and go nuts over their bolts. And support your local businesses. Merry Christmas from AMI. And Certified Pest Control says, hey, get rid of those pests. Call us at 312-5856. Certified Pest Control wishing you a very, very Merry Christmas. Along with Joe Taylor with Carey and Adams Realty. Buying and selling real estate, one call does it all. Joe knows. 678-9400. Joe Taylor, you call him. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Sir.
I think they should throw the mom and dad in jail.
I was thinking of the same thing, that actually what they ought to do is create 3 different cells, one for mom, one for dad, and one for the kid. Don't let them sit together, and just absolutely throw the book at this family, because and also make 4 cells. Put one for the judge.
Yes. Yeah, that's a sad day. You know, but it happened in O.J. Simpson, and he finally got his just at the end, you know.
But, you know, it makes a mockery out of our judicial system. It makes a mockery out of what's right and wrong. It makes a mockery out of a kid expecting, to grow up and respect others. And here's a punk, a rotten, rich punk. That's all he is. And you could just see the arrogance on his face. If you watched it on television, he couldn't care less.
No, he couldn't. He's so self-absorbed. It's sad. It's really sad.
And the victims and their families are going to be gathered around for Christmas this year with less chairs filled because of this punk, and because there really wasn't justice served at all in this, putting this kid on probation. Really, Doug, what did this kid learn?
He learned that money can get him off of anything.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. What happened to the lady with the blindfold holding the scales?
Yeah. Now, I want to get your opinion on something real quick. What would you say would have happened, quote, if this boy would have come from a lesser means family?
He'd have been in jail.
I agree.
He'd have been in a rehab center and been in jail. It wouldn't have been a rehab where you could go surfing on the ocean.
Yeah, that just blew my mind.
The kid needs turned over knee and a paddle busted on his butt.
Yeah, but the Dr. Spock's types, the ones that don't want any scores kept and they want everybody to be a blue ribbon champion, they'd be absolutely against that.
Well, this is what they get.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Got another call waiting, my friend. God bless. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I know you're not old enough to remember when World War II broke out, when the bombs bombed Pearl Harbor. There was just a feeling in the air. I was only 9 years old, but I could feel it. A unity. We went, it was, we're all for America. I don't feel that anymore. Do you?
Well, Helen, I'm going to be honest with you with what's happening in this country, and I'm going to be very, very sincere and honest about this. I don't see America pulling together. I don't see Americans wanting to stand shoulder to shoulder, whether they're liberals or whether they're conservatives, Republicans or Democrats. I don't see it anymore in this country because we've had so much liberalism forced down our throat because of this administration and so much divisiveness. I hope we don't run into a situation where we have to stand shoulder to shoulder, because I don't see it.
I don't either, and that's what bothers me more than anything else, is that it's just, I don't care.
Yeah.
Come what may, tomorrow I'll still be here. It frustrates me.
Well, I think you can add another word to it, though. I think we've lost our respect for each other.
Oh, yeah, big time. Big time.
All right, Helen, God bless you and your lovely family and your husband and everybody else. You're really nice folks. Thanks so much.
Merry Christmas.
God bless you. Thank you. What a nice lady. I just really enjoy her. Oh, my goodness, I got to hurry right now. Travelube Supply, 1050 West, 203 south of Hebron. Old Jim's going to be driving the flatbed this Thursday for our Cowboy Singing Corral, our Christmas Corral. And they've got all the pipe insulation tape, pipe wrap insulation kits, and they got pink Bubba ropes. They've got all your antifreezes and your fuel filters. They've got everything along with pink Bubba ropes. And that's Travelube Supply. Call Jim today at 438-8730. Travelube Supply. They deliver the goods. Oh my, it's time for, already? Can't be a half hour gone already. Capital Press, Ag Minute, brought to you by Pacific Steel and Recycling. Really nice people at Pacific Steel and Recycling. And by the way, they're continuing on with their canned goods. All donations will be given to the Helping Hands mission, and each canned food transaction will be entered to win a Christmas dinner. The drawing is going to be, oh my goodness, what's today? Today is the 16th. The drawing is going to be on Wednesday. We'll have the name for you on the winner. Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, and 1987 Highland Avenue East in Twin Falls. Here's the Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
Moderating feed prices and strong dairy exports will bring improvement to dairy operations in 2014. But market shocks, volatility, and near break-even margins will continue to challenge producers. While dairymen aren't totally healthy, they may be in a little better position than the last couple of years in 2014, according to Wilson Gray, University of Idaho Extension livestock economist. Greater availability of forage and feed will bring significant relief in feed prices in the near term. Gray says corn is down from last marketing year's average of $6.90 a bushel to $4.20 and is likely to come down another 15 cents. Alfalfa is coming down off the national average of $210 a ton in the 2012-2013 marketing year of $185.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
Thank you very much. Brought to you by our dear friends at Pacific Steel and Recycling. 2 locations, 320 West Main in Burley and 1987 Highland Avenue East in Twin Falls. Really nice people. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is for the gals out there in the audience, all the lovely ladies. And I want honest answers to this, gals. Please, listen up. If you're driving to work or if you're just finished feeding the kids breakfast or whatever, I want your honest opinion on this. Is there, in your opinion, really a war on women put forth by the Republican Party? Now, come on. Nancy Pelosi, as you well know, I've said it many times on this program, I think she is one of the dimmest of bulbs in the fixture with the Democratic Party. Nancy Pelosi is playing a card right now, I think, to draw attention away from the disaster of Obamacare. I think she's doing everything she can to draw people's attention away from it. And she's going on the attack, saying that the GOP is summed up with one word in their feelings towards women. And that one word that she used is disrespect. Now, I'm just going to say straight up that is one of the lamest, one of the poorest, one of the most uneducated, one of the most dim-witted responses that I've ever heard. Do I like Nancy Pelosi? No, I absolutely disdain her. I think she's probably on a intelligence factor, the bottom of the Democratic barrel. And for her to come out and say something like this, and she encompassed all. She didn't decipher and say a few might feel this way. She said the GOP and the Republicans all have a war on women because of disrespect for women. And I'm highly offended by that. But I would like you, the women in the audience this morning, to call me and let me know what your thoughts are. She's talking about you. Do you want Nancy Pelosi talking for you? Are you disrespected? You know, this is a gripe I've got, and I'm just going to say, gals, listen a minute. I believe in opening doors for ladies. I believe in walking on the sidewalk side of women going down the street. I believe in opening car doors for ladies. I believe in being respectful and polite. That's the way I was brought up. And to have her say that we, as either independents or especially Republicans, have an absolute disrespect for women, I am totally offended by that, and I think this woman really needs her comeuppance. But I want you, the ladies in the audience, to respond to this. It's not fair for me to go on a railing and a ranting, but I want to hear from you. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, she's not the bottom of the intelligence list on the Democrat side. It's that guy somewhere back east that thinks that island is going to tip when it gets too much weight on it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there some of the responses, and Alias, I'll tell you, some of the responses you hear from some of these politicians, it makes you just cringe in fear in the corner and gnash your teeth and tear your hair out as to how they ever got elected, because they're absolutely stupid people.
I know, but she's definitely number 2 in the bottom.
Well,
that other guy, he's... Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. The brain pool, honestly, for some of the people that are representing us in Congress, it makes you wonder, really, how they ever graduated from elementary school.
You know, what I can't understand is why people keep voting for the same people and expecting things to change.
Perfect analogy right there. They keep putting the likes of Charlie Rangel and Harry Reid and the others in there, and then you wonder why things are at such a mess, an abysmal mess right now. Hey, look behind me, Alias. His head's growing a little bit. Obama's hair's growing.
Well, I'm going to have to get you online here. I've been busy doing other things and haven't even put you on the screen yet.
All right, buddy. Hey, listen, Merry Christmas to you. I got another call coming in. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Mad River Laser. Oh, I love these people. They're so doggone nice, and they've got a great business that's going to be moving right after the first of the year down to the square in Rupert. Right now, they're still located at 700 South Oneida Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness. You're going to love all the great Christmas gift-giving ideas, custom-made pins, and they've got hand-stamped spoons for your Christmas trees, and custom engraved buck knives for your dad. Oh boy, you better stop in and check it out today at Mad River Laser. I love this place. They made all my steak knives. What a wonderful job. 700 South Oneida in Rupert. You stop in and see them today. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zebber.
Yes, sir.
Maybe she feels this way because the people of California treat her this way. And why she ever got elected, I just don't understand. Isn't she the one that said, let's pass it and then find out what's in it?
Absolutely. Carl, let me ask you a question about Nancy Pelosi. When you think about Nancy Pelosi and you think about what she has achieved and how she's got there and really what she's done, this woman has absolutely no abilities. You really don't find out anything that's an original thought from her.
No. And she made her money on wine. And I think that she ought to use some of that money to put into the California schools.
Well, her husband's quite a real estate magnate, and like you said, made a lot of money with wineries, etc., in California. Very, very extremely wealthy individuals. But she is absolutely not the epitome of a bright, shining star up in the sky, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't think she's all that bright, and maybe people are treating her that way.
I agree.
That's my thought.
I agree. Carl, good to hear from you, and I haven't said this to you for a while, my friend. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Oh, there's a dear friend of mine right there. Carl, thank you so much. Hey, when I say Merry Christmas, I want some gals to call in. Girls, do you really feel that the GOP is disrespecting you and that they have a war on women in this country? Come on, call me. Sophie's Chatterbox. The other day, last week, when we had the remote over at Valleywide, we had made a deal with Sophie's Chatterbox for the great big cinnamon rolls, and everybody, woof, that first hour they came in and scarfed those up. Holy cow, I got a half of one. And they were all, the first hour gone. They're delicious, and you better get your order in for all your holiday treats right now, and get your order in by December 23rd. They've got all kinds of pies with homemade crust and homemade rolls and bread and cookies and cinnamon rolls. I guarantee you they're delicious. And Sophie's Chatterbox on the Square in Rupert open 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays, 6 a.m. to 2 on weekends. Wow. It's great food at Sophie's Chatterbox. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Ed, what do you think about John Boehner shooting at us conservatives?
John Boehner is, in my opinion, absolutely backward in his thinking, and he's biting the hand that feeds him and has saved politics over the last 8 years. I have no respect for John Boehner. Don't even get me started.
Hey, boy, I'll tell you, I bet President Obama is smiling at him this morning.
Why not?
Yeah, I'll tell you, he really folded.
But when has he ever stood up and really basically said what you and I wanted him to say? Tell me one time.
I can't think of one time. I think back when he was trying to get elected to the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
And the tears in his eyes.
Oh, brother.
He was saying what he would do and all this and that. And he had tears in his eyes.
Fred!
That fake son of a...
Yeah, easy, Fred. But for a minute there, I thought I saw the FCC coming with the pink slips. Don't scare me like that, Fred.
I won't.
Listen, we saw Boehner's Real True Colors a couple of years ago when he and Obama, they go out and they have a beer together and they sit in the garden, they're talking together and they're buddy-buddy, and then all of a sudden they get on camera and they have this fake animosity against each other. That's why I've said for a long time that I want somebody that's going to go back to Washington and represent us and bow their neck and say, I don't care about the other side of the aisle. This is what my constituents want. This is what I'm going to fight for, and if you get in my way, I'm going to step over you, not around you.
That's right, but he just folded. We got a house that's Democratic now.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
And I'll tell you some other issue that's going to get huge in the re-election, possibly, campaign for Mike Simpson is the White Clouds issue. I don't know where you stand on the White Clouds issue.
Oh, you know where I stand.
But I darn sure don't want any more wilderness imposed on the state of Idaho at the risk of hurting people's private money and checkbooks and the way they make their living, etc. And Mike Simpson is wrong, and I'm going to tell him if he ever calls in.
Well, he'll never call in.
Not anymore, I don't think.
I'm with you. Don't lock these places up.
Absolutely.
I fought it before, and I'll fight it again.
There's a lot of other things that should be locked up before they lock up that, and I'm thinking of quite a few.
Well, I don't think they'll get... Well, I think maybe you're right. They're right. But as far as locking up these mountain ranges and all of that, no.
Absolutely.
Let the people have access to wilderness and these hunting areas and fishing areas. Don't lock them up.
Why should you...
people like me, the only way I can get in, Zeb, is with a four-wheeler.
That's right. That is exactly right. And you know my situation. It's exactly the same. I'm either going to get in there a horseback or on a four-wheeler, and yet I'm told as a taxpayer that I can't go in and enjoy some of my public lands. I'll tell you what, I'll step right up to Mike Simpson or anybody else and tell them, no, I don't want any more wilderness areas in the state of Idaho.
That's right. I've paid taxes all my life. And that's mine.
Absolutely. Fred, God bless you. Now that we both got our blood pressure up, have a good day.
Okay.
Okay, see you later, buddy.
Have a good one.
All right, caller, I'll be right with you. Don't forget, if you were out there nailing up all your... Deanne did a lot of the lighting outside. I mean, she did almost 99 9/10 of everything. She does such a wonderful job. And she's so careful that she doesn't put staples through her thumbs, nailing up old Rudolph or whatever. Well, if you've had just a little emergency, kind of a minor emergency, nailing your hammer to your thumb or whatever, hey, stop into Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center. He fell off the roof putting sand up by the chimney. Oh, you got a bruised shoulder. Fortunately, it wasn't any worse. Well, stop into Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center at 382 North Overland in Burley. Minor emergency, major care. The doctor will see you now, not in 4 or 5 days. Now, let me tell you something. Quality care, save money. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 9, Sundays 1 to 7. No appointments necessary. Hey, these are really good people at Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center in Burley, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello, Zeb.
Hi there.
I can't say that I know a lot about politics, but I can say that I think Nancy Pelosi is one of the most unintelligent people. I don't even want to call her a woman. She doesn't represent me. She is so unintelligent and so fake that I don't think she can represent anything.
Well, let me ask you a question, ma'am. Where and how did she elevate herself to this position of power? I mean, Nancy Pelosi, somehow, I agree with you. But the woman does not have the moxie. She doesn't have the intelligence. She really doesn't have the personality. How did she get where she is today?
It's beyond me. When she talks about different things. She never has her facts straight. I don't think she knows how to read, or she would have never said what she did about pass the law and then find out what's in it.
Absolutely.
If anybody was stupid, it's that person.
I appreciate your remarks, and thank you on behalf of all the lovely ladies in the audience for calling in and voicing your opinion. Thank you. God bless you. Merry Christmas to you.
You have a Merry Christmas, too.
I will. Thank you much.
Bye-bye.
I tell you what, that lady's spot on. Nancy Pelosi coming out and making such a fool out of herself. Well, we had to pass Obamacare so that we could find out what's in it. Holy smokes. And evidently it's our fault, because most of America should have said, Nancy, how dumb art thou? But we didn't. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jeff. I go back a little bit to what you're talking about this morning about respect for women.
Yeah.
I am still fairly young, and I can tell you from experience, and I was taught that when a guy treats his sweetheart like a princess, she will treat him like a king. And I treat my wife with the utmost respect. She's my best friend and always will be. I open the doors for her and make sure she's in the car first. Well, everything that I've learned, and I enjoy doing it, makes me feel good about myself. And I look around, and people my age or a little older or a lot younger, they just don't care, I guess. They don't do it.
Well, I think
it's disturbing to me.
I think what you do and how you're living your life is exactly right. Thank you very much for that. But also, for Nancy Pelosi to say that in general and in mass, that the GOP treats women with disrespect, that's absolutely, first of all, it's idiocy, and secondarily, it's just not thought out, like most of Nancy Pelosi's statements. How can she say that we show women disrespect? That, to me, is absolutely appalling that she gets away with that, and somebody didn't just haul her out on the carpet for that.
Well, it goes to the fact of the belief that, and to my belief, she apparently hasn't been shown that because she hasn't gave it. She probably might have been shown it once or twice, but never returned it. It's not something that you get and deserve. It's something you earn. It's respect that's earned.
I have found...
If a guy treats you nice and you turn around and treat him like trash, they're not going to do it again.
Yeah. I have found over the years, since Obama's been president especially, that there are a lot of women in the Democratic Party. A lot of women in the Democratic Party. I didn't say all. A lot of women in the Democratic Party that share the same views as Nancy Pelosi. They always come out with something racist, some of them that are outspoken. They are very rude, one of which I remember over in Jerome, especially when I called her to come on my program. She hung up the phone on me. So I guess this ilk, like Nancy Pelosi, is not just a one-of-a-kind type thing. Many in the Democratic Party are like her, and that's detestable.
And I agree with you. There are a lot of women that way, and it's really disturbing to me to see that they say some men are sexist, racist, and this, that, and the other, but they need to turn around and think about it just a minute, that just because we try our best to do what's right and then you act like an idiot or a jerk, I mean, that's not on our fault.
There you go.
I think it's their fault.
Roddy, Merry Christmas to you. God bless you for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hey, caller, I'll be right with you. I got to get a weather forecast in here. It'll just take a second. Quality's Electronics Christmas sale is going on now. Oh, my goodness, they've got extended Christmas hours to have you stop in 9 in the morning to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 on Saturdays. They've got TVs like Sony and Samsung, LG, and more, all backed up by their great local service and delivery. I can guarantee you none better. Absolutely the best. Quality's Electronics at 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Here's Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody, Michael Rogers for MichaelRogersWeather.com. Got a friends making new week humid weather, and it's just warm up. That's all I can say. Sunny clouds today, 38 tonight. Might see 41, 42 for us over said and done. Only learn to be still on the cold side, so make sure you have a sweater on, but other than that, enjoy the day, enjoy the weather, it's the only weather you got.
There you go, Michael Rogers weather brought to you this hour by Quality's Electronics at 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. You stop in and tell old Bruce and the gang howdy and pick out your TV for your enjoyment at Quality's Electronics. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. When I first started hearing of the war on women, it was coming from the Democrats. And I frankly, and a good lot of the rest of us, do not fit into the category that this administration put for women. Because what was their war on women? It was that we weren't getting the contraceptives that we needed for free. You know, what percentage of the people is that for?
You know, Lorna, the whole thing about this war on women, that we disrespect you and that we're not out to make sure that you have fair treatment and everything. Come on. Most all the ladies I know that I'm around with my wife and other couples, etc., they don't feel that they're being disrespected in one fashion or not with the Republican Party. And for Nancy Pelosi to say something like this, that was a real low-class, trashy statement.
Oh, they all make the low-class, trashy statements.
Well,
but what they're on their war on women for is not for the majority of the women.
That's true. That's true. That's really true.
Maybe it's for women, but not for the ladies.
Yeah, maybe it's for women, but not for the ladies. Excellent statement, Lorna, my dear lady. Merry Christmas. He couldn't have said it better right there. I like that. Thank you. Not for the ladies.
Christmas to you too.
God bless you. That was wonderful. I like that. It's maybe for the women, but not for the ladies. I like that statement. Calls are welcome, 436-224-1866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd sure appreciate hearing from you. Oh, by the way, we're going to be talking about this a little bit later on, too, but a Houston school district. This is how crazy political correctness is getting. A Houston school district has now taken under consideration a banning of any and all mascot names for various schools that might include rebels or Indians or warriors. Now, some of these schools have had those monikers and mascots since the very beginning of their schools, which go back some 60, 70, 80 years ago, at least. And now this Houston, Texas school district is saying, no, you got to change your name. That's offensive to someone. Whether you're a rebel, Indian, or a warrior, the PC police are coming into everything, absolutely everything. And watch out what's going to happen, I'm underlining the word going to happen with the Washington Redskins football team in the offseason. They are going to hammer Daniel Snyder, the owner, until he has to weaken, get down on his knees, and bow to the gods of political correctness and change the name. They're going to go after everything that they find offensive. It's going to get a lot worse. Calls are welcome, 436-224-1866-927-4587. Deanne has just made some Christmas sugar cookies, and I promise you, many of them will not see the breaking of dawn tomorrow morning. Don't forget our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my, the best in winter traction tires. A lot of them pinned for studs, ready to go. All the different tread designs for your cars, pickups, SUVs. Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you what, they've got all the brake service that's absolutely phenomenal. They know brakes. They know how to stop you. And I tell you, front end alignment, shocks and struts, the best in batteries and tires and snow chains and everything. They've got it right there for you. Underline the word service. They really care. They really take care of you. Lane and Rupert. Lane was over at our remote last week. Good to see him. Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin. Mike and Buell. Mike and Jerome. The Twist family and Paul. John on Poline in Twin Falls. And Randy on Overland and Burley. 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, we ought to ask Gina that. Gina, do you feel that a political party, or political factions of that party are disrespecting you? Come on, tell me. You're always a straight shoot from the hip gal.
Well, okay, this is where I'm going to show my true colors, because you and I don't talk. Actually, when you talk about this topic, I always keep my mouth shut.
Oh, don't do that. It would be highly unusual.
I know. Well, but it's not my show. So
I know, I understand.
This is what I'm going to say. And you and I are going to agree to disagree on this topic. I believe that they're taking away the women's right to choose, and this is the only point of the war on women, as they're saying, that I honestly see and that I disagree with. They're taking away the women's right to choose.
In what regard? Be more definitive.
Pro-choice, pro-life. Now, I know that you're pro-life.
I am.
I am pro-choice. However, here's the caveat. I don't want anybody to pay for my choice. It's not anybody else's decision. Nobody else is going to be my doctor. It's a choice between, and it's a heavy discussion between my doctor and my needs. Has nothing to do with anybody else. Nobody else is going to pay for this, but it's taking away my rights and my choice.
The only thing I would say, and we could arbitrate on this for days and hours, I know we probably would, but we can do it respectfully between each other, is that I honestly believe that birth control should not be created or fostered by abortions.
No, it should not.
And unfortunately, I think you'll agree with me that there are many, whether it's in Detroit with that mother that had 13 kids and kept getting pregnant, so she just basically had an abortion every year.
Yeah,
that is birth control through abortion that is wrong.
And see, that is where, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. The right to choose is in a life or death, a very horrific situation. It's not something that you can just, oops, I'm pregnant.
There you go.
No. You have to be responsible. You have to, do what's right for you. You have to, own up and take on the responsibilities for your actions.
I don't think that we're that far apart. I don't think that we're that far apart on this, but when I look at the taking of human lives, and I'm sorry I'm out of time, really, I wish we had longer. When I look at the taking of a human life just purely because of an inconvenience and used as a birth control device, that's wrong.
That is wrong, and that's where you and I are going to agree, but, wholeheartedly. But for them to just, and there are some factions, some states where they're just taking that off, just off the board. Well, what if there's a medical emergency? Well, there's so many other what ifs.
And I will be more than happy to entertain thoughts with you on that, and we're still not going to be that far apart. But I just think that our society has turned into too easy to do it a certain way and abort a life purely because it's an inconvenience.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that.
Hey, I got to run.
You do.
I not literally. I mean, figuratively or whatever.
Yes.
I'll be back in 6. Don't go away. I love that music. Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and all 7 locations, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Right now would be an ideal time to call them at 734-6969 and get on the route service, especially as we draw nearer to Christmas. You're going to have all the Christmas wrappings, all the garbage, all the boxes that you tried to put the bicycles together with and everything. You got to throw everything away. Well, they'll take care of you. Best in trash collection on their route program. You absolutely will be happy, as Duck Dynasty is. You better believe it. 734-6969. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. You get a hold of them today. I know someone else that you should call today, too, and put this down on your list of things to do, and that's call 436-5636, the number at Hanson Mortuary. Preparation and saving a lot of the stress and worry for our family. We all need to get the answers on pre-planning of funerals so that our family's just absolutely in the short period of time with the passing of a loved one. You don't know whether to dot the I's, cross the T's. You don't know what to get done. A lot of us can save a lot of that stress and worry if we just sit down and do the planning ourselves. Please call them at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number, 436-5636. Joel Heward, owner-manager, and his wonderful professional staff serving you at Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. Well, it's Monday, and that means I get a chance to talk to the king of Colorado's high country, and that's, of course, my dear friend Frosty Woolridge. Good morning. How are you?
Well, good morning, Zeb. And it's a beautiful high country day. Blue sky is out. I just had about 40 elk just walk through the front yard here, and a couple of them still bugling. So it's been quite a delightful morning. I'm wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. It's coming very quickly, and I hope that the preparations and the families and all that goes with Christmas is coming to fruition for everyone in Idaho and across the West and across America.
You know, you've touched on something I just wanted to ask you about last week, and I just forgot. But, you know, Christmas, the name Christmas, the birth of Jesus Christ, I'm not ever going to back up, Frosty. I'm never going to weaken on this as far as it is Christmas. It's a federal holiday. It's in the honor of the birth of Jesus Christ. Nobody is going to water it down or try to change it and say, oh, winter solstice, or we'll change it to some other name, winter holiday party or whatever. I'm not going to weaken, and I got a feeling that you're going to stand right with me.
Well, I loved your last cow pies. I read every section, every part of it, and I'm with you because this is the Christmas celebration, and it means that this child was born, Christ was born, and that we have an opportunity for renewal of our lives. I mean, there's so many different interpretations out there, but I know the one interpretation and the one reality that we all enjoy and have for quite a few centuries in America is Christmas. And it was based on and is based on, and the foundation of it is on the Bible, on Jesus Christ's birth, and all that goes and manifests that. And, of course, we now have become such a multicultural and multi-religious society because of mass immigration that we are losing that identity, and those others are fighting for their deal, whether it's Kwanzaa or if it's Islam or Krishna, or you can go on down the line. Probably when historians write about what happened to the United States of America, they will talk about we have created a schizophrenic multicultural society that everybody's competing for their piece of the pie and their piece of the whatever day is off is special. I would bet at some point you're going to see more and more Islamic days. They're going to fight for Islamic days to become the new holiday for God only knows. But right now, at least, we have this great celebration, the renewal of our lives, the renewal and the birth of Christ, and I hope that everybody appreciates that, and that's what we have a foundation here in America for at this time.
Well, you brought up an excellent point right there that I'd like to pursue just a little bit more. You know, I don't want to share Christmas. I mean, I don't want to share the time around Christmas. I don't want to share it with Kwanzaa. I don't want to share it with a winter solstice. I don't want to share it because that is been Christmas time. Now, I don't care about others. If they want to get their name of their different holiday on the docket and celebrate it, that is fine for them. But Christmas, a federal holiday, and I'm not going to stand for the weakening of it. I'm not going to stand for schools too cowardly to have Christmas pageants. I'm not going to stand for principals and school boards too cowardly with their tail between their legs not to allow them to sing Christmas carols because it is legal according to our Constitution. I'm not going to stand for it, and I will condemn anybody that tries to soften or weaken what Christmas really is.
Well, and I certainly stand with you shoulder to shoulder on that. I would also direct all Americans listening to Zeb at the Ranch each week. I have just finished my 15-part series on what America will look like in 2050 when we add another 100 million immigrants, and that's what we're projected to do. And in fact, if the Senate Bill 744 passes, we will double the speed of that, because it raises legal immigration from 1 million per year to 2 million per year, which then doubles the birth rates, and then it doubles the chain migration rates of relatives from all these other countries. And we will have all these people from around the world, over 150 countries that have quotas that get to come into the United States and do their thing. We're going to have this humongous overload of 138 million total people, which is literally duplicating or doubling the size of the top 30 cities in America, whether it's Los Angeles or Atlanta or Chicago or New York City and so forth. And I show in this last part of the series how serious this is. And you can go to newswithviews.com, beforeitsnews.com, freedomsphoenix.com, and Liberty News Online and so forth. And you at the end of the article, you have you've got 60 Minutes, 60M at cbsnews.com. I've got a template letter in there. I'm asking everybody, I ask everyone, write to Kathleen Parker, George Will, and I give their addresses. Write to CBS and NBC and ABC and CNN and Blitz, Wolf Blitzer and all the rest of them, Megyn Kelly, and ask them, demand them, encourage them, implore them to write about what America is going to look like in 2050 with another 100 million immigrants from 150 different countries, with 100 god-awful who knows how many more cultures and languages that they're going to bring to this country, all trying to get their piece of the American pie, which means it takes it away from all of us, the Americans that are here now. And so anyway, please go to that series, see all 15 parts, and you will be very sobered as to what our country faces and what your children face if we don't stop this immigration, current immigration of a million people per year, and about to become 2 million per year, because they're going to push that 744 bill coming in January. And if it passes, the United States as a cohesive, single culture, single language is simply doomed. And I'm very serious about that. So take part. The worst decision you can make is to think that you can do so little that you do nothing at all.
Absolutely. Well stated. Frosty, hang tough for 60 seconds maximum. I've got to do some commercials, and I want to come back and talk a little bit more about this fragmentation. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the Fairfield Inn and Suites in Burley at 230 West 7th Street North. Holiday special, $85 per night for the Christmas holidays, including indoor pool and hot tubs, free breakfast. And you know what the neat thing about the Fairfield Inn and Suites is for this special? Your relatives can stay in their own bathroom, not use yours. That's the neat thing. Fairfield Inn and Suites, Burley, 230 West 7th Street. Call them at 677-5000 today. And don't forget, too, as I knock the microphone over, Cameron and Siemens Insurance with life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all the security and protection you need for your farm, your home, your business, everything right there. You better believe it. They can help you. Dean Cameron, Todd Siemens, they know all about the health insurance. They know about retirement planning. They know about the life insurance. They can help you. All you have to do is call 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. You know, I hadn't thought about it in its entirety like what you were just mentioning a moment ago, but the bringing in of 100 million more people, literally almost a third of what the populace of this country is now, and the bringing in of different ideas and different value systems and different beliefs and different holiday honorings and that type of thing. You talk about an absolutely, just absolutely a cataclysmic type attitude. I mean, this would be the destruction of any kind of a value system that we have in this country.
Well, that's exactly correct, Zeb. I have to tell you, I'm so far ahead of the curve on this thing. People just do not understand what the implications and the ramifications of adding 100 million immigrants is. It used to be where they just come in at 150,000 per year, and it was not that big a deal because they wanted to become Americans. They wanted to be a part of this culture. They already were and had most of this kind of culture because they were Europeans for the most part. But now you have black flash mobs. You have Oklahoma black Americans sitting on the porch and decide to kill some poor baseball kid who happened to be from Australia just for the fun of it. You've got these knockout gangs going around. And in fact, there's a kid I think in New Jersey. He just went around spraying bullets just over the weekend. His name was I can't remember his name. It's on the email right now because he was having fun. Just shooting people, and it was in St. Louis, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to multiply by 100 million more people, 100 million immigrants, 100 million people that have no concept of the Constitution. They have no concept of Western thinking. They have no concept of the rule of law. They're simply coming here, and we think they're all going to become just wonderful Americans. Well, the fact is they aren't. It's not happening. And it's already manifesting in horrible ways across this country, with our language being completely degraded, our culture being completely and totally obliterated, and finally, our way of life is going to become unsustainable. And I'm going to hope that with this series, unfortunately, what America will look like in 2050 may become the template of America's total destruction, and what the historians will write about. And they're going to say, hey, this one guy back in 2013 wrote about what it's going to look like, and what he wrote was just exactly what happened. And yet I'm still one of those people that say, hey, Thomas Paine didn't give up, George Washington didn't give up, Abigail Adams didn't give up, and right on down the line, I hope that you're all getting your pencils and pens out there, writing these news services and saying, we don't want another 100 million immigrants in this country, legal or otherwise. We can't afford them. We can't sustain them. We don't want them. We don't need them. Let them solve their own problems in their own countries and come to some kind of equity in their own countries, and not keep importing themselves into our country. And that's the key here. And I hope that enough people take action.
One of the stories that I commented on last week on this program came out of Texas last week, Frosty, and I'm sure you're well aware of it. Nothing gets by you when it comes to the borders or immigration. But the state of Texas said enough. The state of Texas said, we've had it with the federal government not enforcing our borders. We've had it with the federal government just basically giving a slap on the wrist to all these drug dealers. We've had it with the federal government not watching for these bad guys and the gangs coming across our borders. And they started taking their own state money and going to the hot spots. And they have cleaned some of these hot spots up to the point where now 95% of the drug trafficking and the killings and the gang activity has been stopped. And you know something? Texas is better for it, and the whole United States is better for it.
Well, it's certainly true. You have to understand this thing. My brother Howard, of course, works on the drug situation and is a 20-year police officer himself. We could absolutely stop, and we could have stopped it 20, 30 years ago, all of this massive drug infusion into the United States by simply sealing the borders with American troops. We do it in the DMZ of South Korea, and I guarantee you not one North Korean has gotten through and come over the DMZ in the last 50 years. And yet, again, you have all these presidents and all the Congresses pretending that they're against, they had a war on drugs, and we're going to stop all those drugs and stop all these kids from doing all these drugs, and yet they won't do the simplest thing to do. And that is put troops on the border of Mexico, 1,900 miles, very simple to do. We've got plenty of troops doing, sitting in this country right now, serving this country, and you just command posts every quarter mile. There's not anybody that can get through that net, and yet the Congress and the presidents won't do that.
Absolutely.
That's why we have a drug crisis in
Absolutely. America. Totally agree with you. Caller, go ahead with your question for Frosty. Quickly, please. I'm almost out of time.
Frosty, I comment about the elitists have always wanted for almost 100 years now to create a world government. And isn't this really the plan to bring us down to third world status so we can all be slaves together under the United Nations?
That's a good question. Good question. Go ahead, Frosty.
Oh, and it's a very excellent question, and that's exactly what's going to happen to us. Jobs and wages have gone down for the last 15 or 20 years now. There has been no raise of the standard of living, and your children will not be better off or have a better life than you are, which has always been the aspect of being an American citizen. We are going to have more people with less money. Wages are going to continue to go down. We're going to have more poverty. The food stamp program right now has hit 48.1 million. It's going to go well over 50 million probably within the next year. And so the caller is exactly correct. When you add more people, you add more poverty, you add more confusion, you add more illiteracy to this country, then you absolutely, those of us who are still working or even have a job, have to work longer and harder just to make ends meet. But we also have to pay for all of those who are being imported into this country, injected into our system.
Oh, we lost him. It sounds like his cell phone all of a sudden decided to go to that great big canceled call in the sky. Hopefully he'll call back. I'll do a quick commercial and maybe we can reestablish that call. Don't forget, let's ride Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley with our dear friends over there. They're closed on Mondays, but they're open Tuesdays through Saturdays on 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh, my goodness. All the snow machines, all the four-wheelers, all the accessories, everything, 0% financing on some of the models. Don't forget to stop in and get whatever you're looking for. Great Christmas gift-giving ideas also. And a parts department with the best doggone guys in the valley. They can figure out anything. Let's ride Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, where the fun is sold. Open Tuesdays through Saturdays. Let's ride. Let's check back over with Gina and see if we have Frosty back on the line.
You just called back.
Oh, thank you so much. Evidently, we had a little cut in the transmission lines, and the government didn't like what Frosty and I were talking about, so they cut us off. My goodness, it's good to have you back, Frost. Go ahead and finish your thought.
Well, and the caller is correct. We will all be degraded as to quality of life, standard of living. Wages will continue to go down. You know, Walmart will continue to pay literally nothing, but so will all of the other companies. Hormel, Tyson Chicken, you go on all down the line at McDonald's, everyone will get minimum wage, and our high school graduates will not be able to find jobs, and the American dream is literally vanishing before our eyes. And that's exactly what my 15-part series is all about. If you read it, you will be very sobered as to what this country faces, because it's not going to get better, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot inject 3 million immigrants every year into this country. That's the legal ones and their birth rate and their relatives that are chain migrated, and hope that you're going to provide jobs and quality of life, standard of living for all of our citizens. It cannot, it will not work, and
not again. Not again. There he is, maybe.
Yeah, right here.
Ah, good. Frosty, one final thought, and I've only got a minute left in this program, but, you know, you and I both share the same thoughts about having a quota system that is adhered to for immigration, legal immigration into this country until we get our economy and our job status straightened out so that we have employment for Americans. Why is it that so many people, literally, I have had emails where they hate you and I for saying that there should be an immigration quota system?
Again, they don't know what people don't understand is called the exponential function. If anything keeps growing in a finite area, it then exceeds the carrying capacity. It exceeds the. Why do you think China has an average wage of 80 cents an hour? 80 cents an hour, ladies and gentlemen, and the wages in India are even less than that. Do you know that the wages in Mexico are less than $5 a day for an 8-hour day? Why is that? It's because they exceed the carrying capacity and the job capacity of that particular area. And so and that means there's too many people. And what people don't understand is called the exponential function. And you keep, if you put, again, the easiest thing to do, if you have a dance floor that'll hold 20 couples, that's 40 people, and they can have a great time dancing, but you put 100 couples on that floor, everybody gets squeezed off the dance floor, everything becomes miserable. That's the simplest way of putting it. Or gridlock traffic in a city like Los Angeles. You've got too many cars and not enough highway. You're going to have you're going to have sclerosis of all of those highways. Everybody's in stop-and-go traffic. You're going to have many multiple crashes. You're going to have deaths because of it. You're going to have more alcoholism and all the alcoholics that are out there driving on those highways. You have all these consequences. It's called the exponential function. I state it clearly in all my articles, and that's what we're facing. And unless we decide as an American people to stop this infusion of all these people into this country, we're simply all going to become victims of our own stupidity, our apathy, and our simply unawareness, is all I can say.
Absolutely. Well stated, my friend. God's blessings to you, Frosty Woldridge, dear friend in Golden, Colorado. Merry Christmas wishes to you and your lovely wife, and we'll talk to you the next time. Thank you so much, Frosty. Appreciate your time.
Well, I hope I make sense, Zeb, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and very Merry Christmas to all of us, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Dear friend right there, Frosty Woolridge. Oh, my goodness, you know what? It's time for our Christmas Carol of the Day, and that's brought to you by our friends at Pickett Equipment Company. Steve and the whole crew wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And don't forget innovation. Innovation, that's a key word for all the Pickett Equipment. That's right, from the Twin Master Edible Bean Combine, Double Master Plus Side Pull Combine, to the One-Step Rod Cutter, very famous Pickett One-Step Rod Cutter. Give them a call at 678-0855 or go online, PickettEquipment.com. Hear now the Christmas Carol of the Day. Merry Christmas from Pickett Equipment Company, 976 East Main Street in Burley, bringing you our Christmas Carol of the morning. Thank you right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Thank you so much. Don't forget Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Great big Santa Claus sale going on right now. They've got everything, all the bedroom sets, all the comfy mattresses, all the recliners, and, of course, all the sofas and the love seats. Everything you're looking for the beautification and the comfort of your home right there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And they've got everything like the curio cabinets and the TV entertainment centers, the area rugs, the bar stools. Everything you need is at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Big Santa sale going on right now at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. Really good folks. Well, right now I know some other really good folks, and that's, of course, the Alliance Defending Freedom, and we have legal counsel with us this morning, and he's been on our program many, many times, Matt Sharp. Matt, good morning to you. How are you?
Very good. Good morning and Merry Christmas.
Love that. We'll both say it. Merry Christmas to you, my dear friend, also. Matt, I'm one of these guys that, on the radio, I will stand up for the virtues of Christmas. I will not back up for anybody. It's Merry Christmas to me. It's not anything else. I will not stand for weak-kneed, spineless education authorities, if you want to call them that, to bend to atheist groups or the ACLU when they're told they can't sing Christmas songs. What's going on with the spirit of Christmas right now? Are we still seeing more of an attack on Christmas?
Absolutely we are. In fact, I got to say, this has been one of the most busy Christmas seasons I've seen for us and for attacks on Christmas. And the attacks have gone beyond the normal ones against Christmas carols and schools and whatnot. We're seeing some where they're even going after collecting shoe boxes for impoverished kids overseas.
Oh, my. Now tell me more about that.
Yeah. A South Carolina charter school was collecting shoe boxes to send to children overseas. A lot of groups do this. You get a shoe box, you pack it with items. It goes overseas, and it's Operation Christmas Child is the group that puts this together. And atheist groups have been complaining that because these shoe boxes are being sent to a religious organization, and that religious organization then ships them overseas and disperses them to children all over the world, that violates the Constitution. And I'm looking at this thinking, really? When our founding fathers were sitting around drafting up and said, we want to make sure that there's not establishment of religion, they were thinking about, and we want to make sure kids are not collecting gifts and shoe boxes at school to send to kids overseas because that's going to violate the Constitution. It's just ridiculous that these groups would think that's a constitutional violation, and even more ridiculous that they would target these poor kids that just want to have the joy of opening a gift on Christmas and tell them, sorry, you can't get a gift because we don't want kids at our American public schools to bring these gifts to school and collect them.
All right, now wait, Matt, you're the lawyer. I took 1 year law at the University of Wisconsin, and we both had a mutual agreement that maybe I should choose another field. But I'm irate to think that, very simply put, Christmas is a federal holiday in this country. Now, if it falls underneath federal protection as a holiday, why can we have anybody, whether they're the ACLU, whether they're the American Humanist Association, whomever, how can they possibly dictate how Christmas is honored and what we do?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, all of the court cases that have looked at this have said the same thing, that there's absolutely nothing wrong with celebrating Christmas with its religious traditions and everything else. And in fact, some courts have even said a child's education would be incomplete without understanding a lot of the great religious traditions that have informed Western culture, without knowing some of the great Christmas carols like Silent Night and others that have withstood the test of time. And I think it's awful that these groups try and twist and change the Constitution to something from what it originally meant, to thwart federal laws that recognize Christmas as a federal holiday, and to tell these schools that they have to censor and ban anything dealing with Christmas, tell teachers they can't wish students and each other Merry Christmas, all in the name of so-called following the Constitution. It's ridiculous, and it's completely wrong.
Matt, what happened to this country to the point where when I graduated from high school way back in the 60s and then went to college, Christmas was a time-honored sacred tradition. People got together on the streets and they wished each other a Merry Christmas and God's blessings, and it was just a wonderful time of the year where even if we were Democrat or if we were Republican or liberal or conservative, we all stood shoulder to shoulder and wished each other a very, very Merry Christmas. What happened in this country that we let these kooks and crackpots get involved in it?
Yeah, you know, I think we failed to stand up, is that these groups would come at us and say, oh, you're so, intolerant of other religions and this and that. But really what they were trying to do is target Christianity, target Christian celebrations like Christmas and whatnot. And unfortunately, a lot of Christians didn't stand up. The great thing is, though, is that now that we're seeing Christians standing up and saying, this is ridiculous. We want to celebrate Christmas. It's something that can unite everybody in our country, not divide us, but unite everybody for this time of wishing each other Merry Christmas and God's blessings, and just taking time off to celebrate the things that are really important. We're seeing victories after victories. We're seeing school districts starting to grow a spine and stand up to these attacks from American Humanist Association and ACLU, standing up and saying, no, we like these Christmas carols. We want our kids to see them. No, we like being able to perform in a community Christmas celebration, and we want our choirs to perform there. We like collecting gifts for children overseas, and we want to continue to do that. And it's because Christians and communities are standing up and saying, we're tired of this nonsense. We're tired of this political correctness. We love Christmas. We want to celebrate it. We want to pass it along to our kids. And when they stand up, they can be assured that they can get victory against these groups that want to ban Christmas.
Now, Matt, okay, now let's go with the scenario here. Like in Wausau, Wisconsin, my former state, I was born and raised in Wisconsin, and the school boards. Let's talk about school boards in general, and teachers and principals. Where's their backbone? Where's their courage? Where's their common sense? Where's their smarts on this issue as far as the Constitution? How come they're weak-kneed when it comes to these people coming in like the American Humanist Association and kowtowing to these people?
Yeah, a lot of these school boards, they're so worried about being politically correct. They like to garner the favor of the leftist liberals that want to ban Christmas and all this. They want to be in good favor with them. And so as soon as some rogue parent complains about a Christmas carol, the school says, oh no, well, let's just ban them all. We want to be inclusive, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and all of this stuff. And so when they cave in to this one complaint, all of a sudden 99% of the people that want to sing these songs, that want to celebrate Christmas, they're the ones being offended. They're the ones that having their right to celebrate Christmas being denied. And so these school boards, they got to grow a backbone. They've got to get the courage to stand up to all of this and to not cave in to a few complainants that really have a alternative motive. They're not about not being offensive. They're wanting to impose their own secularist ideology on school districts. They're wanting to impose it on students. They're wanting to ban any reference of religion, any celebration of Christmas or whatnot at schools. And so these school districts have just got to grow a backbone and stand up. My view is if schools are doing their job, then their job ought to be to make sure that these great Western traditions of Christmas and the songs that come with it are passed down to students, not so sanitize and clean the Christmas spirit from schools that students are just left singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because that's the only politically correct song to some of these groups.
Yeah, I'm not going to change. There's been threats against me on this program. I've told you this in the past, Matt. I think it was you, that people are offended when I say to some of my callers, God bless, have a good day. I'm not going to change. I mean, people have made threats that they don't like that. Well, that's their problem, and they can take their thumb and their forefinger, and they can put it on the dial and switch to another station. I'm not going to change my ways. I'm not going to weaken the honoring of Christmas the way I've done it ever since I was born. And I honestly believe that if you look these people in the eye and say, bring it on, big boy, and then also mention, well, I happen to be fairly good friends with the Alliance Defending Freedom, just what kind of a scorecard do you have against them? And I'll bet you 90 times out of 10 or out of 100, they'll run from you guys.
Yep, that's exactly right. But I love what you said about standing firm. You know, we had a situation last year with this group in Pennsylvania, the school district for, I think it was like 40, 50, 60 years, something decades had done the Song of Christmas as part of their Christmas musical. The community loved it, everyone loved it, and as part of it they did a short nativity scene, told the Christmas story, you know, informing people of what Christmas is really about. And you would think that that would be non-controversial. Well, just like as always happens, the complaint comes in and then the school starts getting weak knees and whatnot. And I'm thinking, so you throw out 50 years almost of tradition, of things that the community loves, of something that every year hundreds of people had packed into the auditorium to see this, and generation and after generation of students had put in time and effort to do this. And they wanted to just throw it out the window because of one complaint. And I think what you said is so important. We got to stand firm, and we got to say we are not going to change. We're not going to waver in our celebration of this. This is important. It's a battle worth fighting. It's something worth getting complaints and threats and whatever else comes against us. This is something, a value, a tradition that we're willing to stand for.
Yeah, okay, right there. As a lawyer and legal counsel, I'm going to tell you right now that when one person complains to me, I will respectfully say thank you for your opinion and keep on doing what I'm doing. I am not about to let one person absolutely dissolve what I've worked for all my life. Why are in this society, why today are we catering to that one little squeaky wheel? Just put some oil on it and keep on rolling the wagon.
Yeah, you know, I've heard this phrase that I really love. It's the tyranny of the minority. It's when a society becomes so focused on protecting the interest and thoughts and feelings of one individual person that the views and interest and desires of the majority are ignored. And I think we're seeing that more and more. Now, obviously, we've got to protect, you know, every minority in our society, and they've got the same right to free speech. But there's a difference between the right to free speech and the right to control what others are allowed to do. And that's where we're getting, is that rather than saying, hey, just like you said, I appreciate your input, but we're not going to change, it's becoming, oh, thank you for your minority voice. We're going to change the wants and desires of everybody else to accommodate your feelings. And I think we've gone too far in that. I respect the views of the minorities. Let them say what they want to. Even those that hate Christmas, you know what? Let them say it. That's fine. But the rest of society does not have to cave into their demands. Just the opposite. We need to embrace and continue to celebrate the desires of the majority, of those that want to celebrate Christmas. We listen to the views of those that dissent, but they do not change what the rest of us do.
Absolutely. Matt, on another related story, the atheists in this country seem to be making a full score a war on right now Christianity, like they did in Times Square when they put that sign up that was very offensive about taking the Christ out of Christmas. What are your thoughts about these people? What are they so afraid of?
I think they're afraid of the truth. I think they're afraid that, they know somewhere deep down inside of them that their beliefs are wrong, and so Christianity is a threat to them because it tells them that Jesus Christ is the only way. It tells them that they are incomplete without that. And so to them, it's something that challenges the core of their beliefs, and I think that's why they do this. And it's so troubling of seeing these, during these situations where, I saw one in Florida where the state capitol had a nativity scene, and so the atheists come in and say, well, if you're having the nativity scene, then you have to have ours that mocks Christmas and all of that. And part of me just thinks, you know what, guys, just be quiet. You've got your times to speak. Respect your right to free speech, but you have to come in on everything and mock it and ridicule Christianity. I'm not requiring you to agree with it. I'm not requiring you to follow it. Our Constitution protects your freedom of religion or freedom from religion, as they would say, but you don't have to mock it. And I think it's troubling that these groups feel it's so necessary for them to mock religion, to denigrate it at any chance they get. And I think it's times, especially in the Christmas season, that I wish they would just keep their opinions to themselves.
Well, it's not only that, though, Matt, but it goes back to what I said just a few minutes ago. I'm one of these kind of guys that I'm going to stick my chin out, and I'm going to say, okay, Bubba, bring it on, because I do know you and others with the Alliance Defending Freedom. You are not going to cancel my Christmas. You are not going to cancel my reverence and my feelings and my family values towards Christmas and the birth of Jesus Christ. You're not going to diminish it. Get out of the way. If you don't, I'm going to step over you. That's exactly the attitude that I think personally needs to come back into play in this country, kind of like the old days of the Saturday Evening Post where we honored our families and our religion and our value system, and it's about time we started taking the tail from between our legs and standing up and fighting these people.
That's right. And, that's why, we've got the case pending at the Supreme Court with the town of Greece, the town council that wants to open its meetings with prayer. And I applaud them that here's these group of government officials that say, you know what, we think this tradition is important, and we don't care that the atheists don't like it, we don't care that they don't want it. This is important to us, and we're willing to fight for it. And they're putting their town on the line, and they're taking it all the way to the Supreme Court, and, everything I saw looks like we're going to get a good outcome. And it's because they had the courage to stand firm and say, nope, we're not going to cave in, we're not going to change, this is valuable, this is important, and we're going to defend it. And that's where it's so great that groups like Alliance Defending Freedom exist, that we can come alongside these town councils, these school districts, these kids that just want to celebrate their values, to celebrate religion, to keep these great traditions alive, and that we're able to come alongside of them, defend them, and get them victory after victory after victory, and help roll back the tide of secularism and atheism that seems to be growing more and more, because we are pushing back against it, and we're going to get victory over it.
Absolutely. Well, you know that you've got a friend here. Anytime you want a story aired or anything I can do on this program, I will do it to help you. Matt, tell everybody how they can get a hold of Alliance Defending Freedom to follow these stories.
Absolutely. They can visit our website, alliancedefendingfreedom.org. They can learn more about their rights at Christmas. We've got some great materials. If your school district needs a little kick in the tail to get them to do the right thing, we're there to help them out. And obviously, we always appreciate the prayers and financial support of everyone that is interested in what we do.
I just want to say one thing to you, and that is Merry Christmas, my dear friend, and please come back and see us in the not-too-distant future. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for all the information this morning.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners.
God bless you. Matt Sharp with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Wow, I could go on and on about this, but I'm not going to change my attitude. I'm going to be, a lot of people say, well, you're just repugnant. You won't listen to other people about maybe their likes or dislikes regarding Christmas. Nope, you're right. I won't. It's Christmas. It's the birth of Jesus. It's Christmas time. Yep. I'm not going to listen to anything else. And for all you little squawkers out there that want to be like the little bird that got its tail stepped on, that's your problem. It's a federal holiday. I will continue to relish and honor the Christmas season, and I won't weaken. I promise. Let's have a weather update right now, and the weather is brought to you by MichaelRogersWeather.com, and our sponsor for the weather this hour, what wonderful people at the Magic Valley Chalet in Upper Crust. Magic Valley Chalet downstairs with all the cheese and all the ice cream and all the baskets that they can customize, and you can send to your friends, neighbor, and family. Oh, man, it's great. And believe me, upstairs, the delicious menu of the Upper Crust Restaurant. Oh, wow. What a great place to go. 1367th Street in Heyburn, Magic Valley Chalet, and the Upper Crust. Here now, Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody, Michael Rogers for MichaelRogersWeather.com. Got a friends thinking new week, humid weather, and it just makes warm up. That's all I can say. Sunny clouds today, 38 for the high, might be 41, 42 for it's over said and done. Overnight weather will be still on the cold side, so make sure you have a sweater on. But other than that, enjoy the day, enjoy the weather, it's being the weather you got.
There you go, MichaelRogersWeather.com, brought to you this hour by Magic Valley Chalet in the Upper Crust, 1367th Street in Heyburn. Wonderful, wonderful people, and a great place to go. Oh, I love that place. Calls are welcome and appreciated, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I remember a couple of weeks ago, somebody called and they said, well, gee, what about the minorities? Don't they have a right to kind of voice their opinion? Yeah, they got a right to voice their opinion. They sure do. But they're in the minority. And if the majority wants to celebrate Christmas, and the majority wants to have the value system that we've had in this country since this great United States was formed, then the majority rules. The other ones can sit there and they can doodle on their little Etch-a-Sketch. They can do whatever they want, but until they get to be the majority, just shut up and sit in the corner and leave the rest of us alone. It's Merry Christmas, and it will be on this program. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, I also would like to give you some holiday greetings for the great Merry Christmas wishes from Pro Paint at 1116 Overland and Burley. Best paint, best stains, best advice, and get somebody a gift certificate. They've got them at Pro Paint in Burley. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Oh, there's some other great folks that want to wish you Merry Christmas also, and that includes Golden Valley Warehouse at 468 West, 100 South of Burley. Locally owned and operated, quality seed at competitive prices. A Merry Christmas from those good folks. And Merry Christmas wishes from Butte Irrigation at 116 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul, and their new location at 22342 Kimberly Road, just a little tad north of Kimberly, right there on Kimberly Road. And they say congratulations to all the farmers for having a great year. And Magic Valley Carpet. These are wonderful people at 613 D Street in Rupert, and they say may God bless you this Christmas season. Merry Christmas from all of those great folks right here on Zeb at the Ranch. You know, Gina, that opens up the door for a little conversation with you if you got just a minute. Are you right there?
Yep, I'm here.
I know. I could just see you grabbing the headsets really fast. You know, there have been people that have called up, and there's been emails, and there's been letters of disdain, you know, well, you sure have your attitude about Christmas. You don't care about anybody else, and I'll simply say you're right. I don't. I only care about Christmas for me, my family, my beliefs, and it's a federal holiday honoring Christmas. I'm not going to back up. I'm not going to weaken. I'm not going to wish anybody a happy Kwanzaa. I don't believe in it, and it's Christmas to me, and if they don't like that, like I said earlier, I can be really repugnant to them if I want to be. I will be. I'm not going to back up on Christmas.
Well, you know, just because they don't believe in Christmas doesn't mean that they have to complain about it. If they don't believe
That's right.
Yeah, go and do something else. There's tons of other things that you can do on that day if you so choose, because I tell you, your employer is probably going to give you the day off anyway, and so just go and do whatever you want.
Amen.
I don't care.
Amen.
You know, I'm going to celebrate Christmas with my family. If they don't want to, That's their business. Just don't tell me about it. Don't be hacking me for my beliefs.
Absolutely.
I'm not hacking you for yours.
Well, that's one thing. You've never heard me on this program, and you never will. Diminish somebody else's beliefs and or holidays. I won't do that. I will not do that. If they want to have a holiday and have something connected with their family or whatever with that holiday, that's their own belief, and that's fine for them. Yeah. But don't come after mine and diminish it or try to stop it or try to water it down, because I'll fight you, and that's exactly what I'm going to do on this program.
Amen, as you should, and you've got a phone call.
All right. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Just thinking here, listening to you two talk, I wonder if they don't believe in it, but their employer gives them the day off and pays them for it, do they accept that and take the day off?
Sure they do. Sure they do. And I'll tell you something else that's really phony about it. They'll come after God and say that we've got to take God out of all our lifestyle and everything else, and at the same time they'll go to the bar that night and pass a $10 bill over the bar that says, "In God we trust."
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, if they firmly don't believe in anything, then and if they would live accordingly, they'd have a little more respect. But
absolutely.
Where they're just trying to ruffle the feathers and get things their way.
Well, Doug, when I hear about this deal with the American Human Association trying to stop kids in North Carolina from sending shoeboxes of toys and others to needy children around the country and around the world, what does that tell you? It tells you that the sleaze and the slime from the left is absolutely trying to take the joys of Christmas and gift giving away from people that care and love one another. And if you think for 5 seconds I'm going to support that sleaze and slime, everybody's got another guess coming.
Well, I'm right there with you on that one, and I did listen to an interview of the person that's pushing that to stop that, and the person asking says, "Well, what are you doing to replace it?"
That's right. And
they had no answer. They weren't ready for that question.
Absolutely. And the other side of that story is you can, educators, if you're listening out there this morning, show some backbone, show some spine, show some heroic attitudes. You can sing Hark the Herald Angels Sing. You can sing Silent Night in the schools. Nobody can stop you. They can make threats until the cows come home next week, but nobody can stop you because it's not against the law. Show some spine, for heaven's sakes.
Very true, Zeb.
All right, sir. God bless you. Have a good day.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Christmas is a wonderful, wonderful time of the year, and I'm not going to back up, and I expect you won't either. Fight for it. There are people that want to take it away. We've had some changes in the next hour. We're going to be having Joe Messina on the program as scheduled, but then we thought we were going to have Kyle Olson coming on the program at 10:30, and he had a family emergency, and so therefore we had to change that. And a very dear friend of mine, Jack Euler, is going to be coming on talking about the sage grouse situation. And I also want to remind you, this Thursday, December 19th, we're all going to get together at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 5:30 for our great big Zeb at the Ranch cowboy singing chorale, Christmas carols. We're going to ask you to bring a flashlight so we can all see the words. Nothing better than just having a bunch of hummers up there going, No, we're going to sing. And this is all sponsored by Let's Ride and Ramsey Heating and Electric and Travel Loop Supply and Smith's Food King. We're going to meet there at 5:30 and sing. Ken Mort's going to have the sound, and Jim McCall at Travel Loop's going to have the flatbed with all the straw on it and everything. Oh my goodness, don't miss it. We're going to celebrate Christmas. Yes, we are. This Thursday the 19th, don't miss it. One other quick note. My dear friend George Mass and Donna Mass, with the Rupert POW and myself, Zeb at the Ranch, we've teamed up, and George has put boxes around various locations in the community for canned food goods, and we really have a lot of people that need our help. So please, Ramsey Heating and Electric, Les Schwab and Rupert, Paul and Burley, the City of Rupert offices, Valley White Home and Ranch, Kings and Rupert, Alaska's Best in Rupert. If you go on into those places, maybe take a can or two of food, please, and drop it off for folks that might need a little extra help this winter season. Would you do that for me? I'd sure appreciate it. We're going to take a break and go to the news, and then when we come back, we'll have Joe Messina on the line. Zeb at the Ranch on a Monday. God bless. love a little bit of Deck the Halls. Oh, my goodness, I love Christmas time. Good morning, and Merry Christmas out there, Zeb at the Ranch. And I'm Zeb Bell, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley. And our friends at Western Way Services, get on the route service today. Call them at 734-6969. Well, Merry Christmas wishes from these good folks, the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce office at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn. Oh, my goodness, what a great gift shop they've got over there at the Minnecasia Chamber. Stop in and say hello to those folks today. Redder's Showcase at 2611 Overland Avenue in Burley. Stanton Furniture, Serta and Tempur-Pedic mattresses, Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana Appliances, all of that from Redder's, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Along with our dear friend Vicki at Vicky's Country Gardens, be sure and call her about possibly getting gift certificates. Great stocking stuffers at Vicky's Country Garden. Call her at 438-5663 over on the Burley-Paul Highway. And last but not least, for all your Christmas needs, stop into the Book Plaza and visit with our dear friend Colonel Dale. 3 floors of books, over 200,000, and crafts and music and kids' books, everything you can think of at 222 West 11th Street in Burley. So there you go. Merry Christmas wishes. Deanne, would you please get a hold of Gina on that telephone number, if you would, please, right away. And Gina, Deanne's going to be calling you with a new number for Joe Messina. How's that?
Okay, perfect.
All right, she's going to be sending it over via email. Thank goodness for the both of you. And we'll have our guest on the phone, hopefully, in just a few minutes. While we have just a moment, that will give me ample time to also tell you about the Chadwick Sports Grill at 139 West Main in Burley. Oh, there's always something great to eat right over there at the Chadwick. Now, today, they're going to have for a luncheon special a half-grilled ham and cheese sandwich with super salad, tots or fries, just $5.95. And tonight, they're going to have a dinner special, and I hope I say this right. Gina probably knows this better than I do. Chicken paprikash, I think that's how it's said, over rice. And it's just going to be $8.95. Wow, great food, wonderful people serving you at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Really good folks. What we're waiting for is we had a change in telephone numbers for one of our guests this morning, and that's Joe Messina. And Joe, quite a pundit when it comes to different things with the political background and what's going on in the world. And he was going to talk about this morning the Westboro Baptist Church and the hate that must be in those people's hearts and all they do to try to disrupt things. We're going to have him hopefully on the air in just a few moments. Real quick message, don't forget this Thursday, the 19th at 5:30 in the afternoon, we're going to meet at Ramsey Heating and Electric for our first annual Zeb at the Ranch Cowboy Singing Chorale Christmas Carols. It's going to be a lot of fun. And our thanks again to Let's Ride, along with Ramsey Heating and Electric, Travel Loop Supply, and Smith's Food King. We're going to have cookies and hot chocolate. Bring a flashlight so you can see the words, and also the wonderful sound system and great singing voice of not only Keith Ramsey, but also Ken Mort. Going to be a lot of fun this coming Thursday. Don't you miss it. Gina, did that work for you? I think she's
talking to him on the phone right now.
Oh, she's talking to him on the phone right now. Okay, so as soon as she gives me the green light, we'll say good morning to Joe Messina. Joe, how are you today?
I'm going to put my headset on because the disconnection is terrible for me. It'd be fine for you, but it's terrible for me.
All right, Joe, whenever you're ready, buddy, go ahead.
Hold on 1 second.
All right, 3, 2, 1 seconds up. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say good morning to a gentleman that writes for The Real Side, his radio program, Joe Messina. Joe, how you doing?
I got my headset caught in my glasses. I mean, come on, really perfect.
Is there anything that's good about this morning, Joe?
I got up on my own. How's that? It's a great morning.
Well, I hope you wear boots and didn't have to tie shoes because you probably tied them together and you fall and break your nose. Be careful there.
You know what? I probably would do that.
Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been on the show before, but give us a little background about Joe Messina and what you do and where people can hear you, etc.
Well, the easiest way to find me is go to therealside.com, and right there you'll find out what stations I'm on, what days I'm on, the latest columns I've written, that kind of thing. And
I'm in the belly of the beast, as they say. We're just north of Los Angeles, and trying to be a conservative out here in La La Land. Truly, I think that's where they got that term. La La Land was here in from California.
Let me ask you something.
Real short. Definitely is a 7 by 35 hour fight.
Well, let me ask you something about that, though, Joe. And I announce a lot of rodeos, and I go all over California, and I know quite a bit about the state. When you get outside of L.A. or you get outside of Sacramento, there's really some honest, God-fearing, conservative thought out in the hinterlands, is there not?
That's very true. When you get out into and believe it or not, California has farmland. We're not all big buildings and densely populated areas, but you're right. When you get out to the smaller areas, you do have some really solid, fiscally and socially conservative people that love the state and love the country. But the problem is that consolidation of liberalism in the big cities where the big bucks are.
What do you find as far as your program, your thoughts, your blogs? Up here, I'm in a very conservative area, so naturally I fit into the niche up here, if you will. But down there in California, where you are a conservative battling all this liberalism, what do they do? What do they say? How are they responding to you?
They respond with wallet. Most of the time, look, my listeners, the sad part for all of us is we preach to the choir. You know how that goes. People normally tune in, the majority of your listeners, are people who agree with you and want to hear what you have to say, or want to hear the topics you're bringing about. But you get those people who can't stand you. It doesn't matter what you say or what you bring to the table. They know you're a conservative, maybe a God-fearing conservative, and right there it's distasteful for them. And I get all kinds of nasties when I talk about same-sex marriage and the reality behind that. When I talk about abortion, I had a sponsor drop me because they felt like I talked about abortion too much, and I talk about it about twice a week.
But what happened to the value system in this country? And I'll equate what you just said about abortions and... Oh, no. Please tell me we don't have another open line. Please tell me that call didn't get dropped. Poor Gina. She's over there trying to reestablish that call, and as soon as we get him back on the line, she'll let me know. Perhaps he pulled his headset off and disconnected the phone. I don't know. But while we're waiting for him, that'll give me just... We're having a tough time trying to keep Joe on the air this morning. I want to remind you about our School Days in Cassia County segment that we have every Thursday, as a matter of fact, on Zeb at the Ranch. And it's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley, and also the Ambulatory Surgery Center in Burley. Two wonderful sponsors. And talking about A Child's World, don't forget they've got all the coats and the dresses. They've got all the games, the toys, and the puzzles. It is a family store. Stop in to A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley, or go online and shop achildsworldinburley.com. And don't forget, too, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. For over 14 years, the Ambulatory Surgery Center of Burley has saved area families thousands of dollars and received the best and outstanding medical care. Call 677-8888, 677-8888 for doctors that really help their patients at the Ambulatory Surgery Center, along with The Child's World, bringing you School Days in Cassia County. Let's check back with lovely Gina and see if he's back on the air. He's back on the air. No more bad phone lines, Joe.
Well, the NSA was afraid of what I was going to say here.
You know, Joe, when you talk about the people that hate you because of your conservatism, and whether you're talking about the gay lifestyle, whether you're talking about the attack on Christmas, I personally said just a segment ago at 9:30, I will never back up. I'm going to stay with my value system, and those that don't like it can turn the dial and listen to Barry Manilow, because I'm not going to change my attitude.
Well, God bless you, because that's the problem is, you asked me before we cut out, what's happened to values. Well, we've watered them down over the years so much, and I'm going to blame the conservatives for this. They have backed off to allow people to, quote-unquote, live their lives because they didn't want to be intrusive, that they find themselves now on the short end of the stick. I mean, the bottom line with it is that if we had held strong over the years on family values, how to raise your children, the kind of curriculum we want in schools, we'd still have those. But we don't fight. I serve on a fairly large school board here in Southern California, and I find that the the more liberal-leaning people, the more progressives, are at the board meetings. They're the ones yelling the loudest. They're the ones coming to us. I never see conservatives there. I have to call them on the phone and ask them to come and defend what I believe in.
You know, that's really a good point, Joe. What about Christmas where you are as far as the school system is concerned? I just had quite a few stories this morning already about different school systems around the United States that are afraid to have a Christmas spectacular with Hark the Herald Angels and Silent Night because some one person complained they didn't want that. And we're kind of kowtowing to these people when we should be standing up and saying, we're going to do it, it's legal, get out of our way.
It's really funny because what I do every year, just before Thanksgiving, is I take the brief from the Supreme Court, our United States Supreme Court, that said it is okay for schools to have nativity scenes, to talk about Christmas, to have Christmas events. It is okay. I give that to the superintendents in the local town and just tell them, look, bottom line with it is if you try to scrub any of these programs, I am going to get on the horn with Pacific Justice Institute, which will come in and fight these things. Haven't had a problem here in 6 or 7 years.
Wonderful. Let's talk a little bit. I read your page that was sent to me in regards to the Westboro Baptist Church. Who are these people anyway?
Well, they're people that don't represent me.
Right.
And that's what got me rolling.
In what way, Joe? I mean, the hatred that these people have, they seem to hate everybody or anything that's going on. Give us some examples as to just how spiteful they can be.
Well, what was funny was I had my wife was poking at me all weekend about these guys and saying, you know about these guys. They go out and they picket the military. They go out and they, and they picket people that they don't feel live the quote-unquote biblical lifestyle. And in their mind, once you get out of the 60 or so members they have at their church, that everybody else is going to hell, everybody else is wrong, everybody else is against God. Well, I don't know where these people came from, but when you do a little digging, you find out they're mostly all family members. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's the grandfather or the father that actually started the church and has decided that he's going to be the one that's going to interpret Scripture. Now, the problem with these people is they're going out to think about this. They go out to our military men's funerals with signs that say this is God's judgment, that God is killing our soldiers because we've become an ungodly country. And what got me mad was I don't serve a God of hate. I serve a God of love. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a religious show, but the bottom line with it is they say that they're a Christian church. I'm a Christian. My God isn't hateful and spiteful like that. That's what was making me crazy and kind of pushed me to write that piece.
All right, now, what would you say after you studied these folks a little bit, the Westboro Baptist Church and their congregate members? What is their main goal? I mean, what's really the itch that they're trying to scratch in this problem? What are they trying to create or stop?
When you start looking at them, they're not asking anybody to join the church. They don't ask anybody, to come to what most mainstream Christian churches. They want you to come to the knowledge of Christ. These guys, they don't ask you to do any of that. If you go to their sites, they're hateful. I don't know what their end game is because you can't even put it together with the pieces they give you. It is just a hateful site that tells you what's going wrong in the country, what people are doing wrong, and how everybody's going to hell.
So what's the best way to respond to these people? We've seen people that have lined up in front of funerals and tried to block their vision so that they couldn't be a part of it and tried to disrupt it. What would you say after studying these people is the best way to fight them and combat their attitude?
Well, frankly, when I started looking at where they've been turned away, that's exactly it. A bully doesn't like it when somebody stands up to them, and that's what these people are doing. They're nothing but bullies. And they come out 30 and 40 to a clip. They come out with those signs. And a quiet, I don't know if you knew it, but at one point in time, the Hells Angels came out. The bikers came out and stood on one side of the cemetery. And the other guys, the Westboro Baptist people, could do no damage because they wouldn't get close enough to do anything. Mm-hmm. If that's what it takes, that's what you do.
Let's talk a little bit more about Christmas down in your country versus across the United States, Joe. Is there, according to what many people have termed, and I believe there is, an attack and a war on Christmas, and it's worse perhaps this year than it has been in previous years?
Yeah, I agree with you. I've seen it heat up this year like no other year before, and I would say unequivocally, yes, there is a war. It's just not a war on Christmas. I wrote a piece a couple of months back about the war on Christians. When you look at who the ACLU goes after, when you look at these groups, Freedom from Religion, and the military groups, the Freedom from Religion, they're not going after the Jews, and they're not going after the Muslims. They go after the Christians. They predominantly target the Christians. They want to get rid of the crosses. They want the Bibles off the desks, that kind of thing. And then in California, what they're fighting with the public agencies is trees are to be called holiday trees, not Christmas trees. And such a minor, idiotic thing.
But when you
spend all that money fighting it, it's been called a Christmas tree forever.
Well, basically, it's a federal holiday, Joe, named Christmas, and it regards the birth of Jesus Christ, and I don't see why anybody should back up from the fact that if it's a federal holiday, it's been named, I think Roosevelt is the one that named it a federal holiday, we can honor it in any way, shape, or form. We don't have to listen to these people. We don't have to let them into our school systems. Why are we kowtowing to them?
Because again, I said it earlier, where conservatives have spent years and years and years just being politically correct with these people, backing off of these people, going, look, it's just a couple of them, let them have their way. No, because it's just going to be a couple of us. We're going to have none of our way. And you're right, I love this. Those people who scream about Christmas, scream about taking religion out of government, then go to work that day. You have the day off because of Christmas, because of Christ. Go to work, and don't ask for double time.
I've got
a regular salary. If you don't believe in a holiday and you don't think it should be part of the government, then go do your job.
Absolutely.
But you're right. You can't take Christ out of Christmas any more than you can take wet out of water.
Absolutely. I want to wrap up the conversation by asking you about one of your favorite California residents. I'm sure she is high on your public opinion charts, Nancy Pelosi, when she came out over the last couple of days and said that the GOP has a war on women and their main goal is to show total disrespect to women. What did you think about Nancy's statement?
Now, does anything she ever say really have any kind of cohesiveness or make any sense whatsoever? She's on her own planet. She recently said a couple of weeks ago that the Obamacare rollout was without incident, that there really was no big deal. There's nothing wrong with it. It rolled out just fine. So it shows you where she's coming from. But, nobody here, and this is the thing that makes me nuts, in her own state, in her own area, she doesn't have a lot of respect. Because nobody really, again, think about what she says, the things that she comes up with. There's no connection to reality with them. But she keeps getting elected. I don't understand it. I just don't get it.
When you take a look at Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid, and they're staying in office and leading the liberal charge on Washington, what about it? Why can't states like Nevada and California see the forest because of one tree standing in the way? How come they do get reelected? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, incumbency holds a lot of weight. That's number one. It's very hard to get an incumbent out of office because people are lazy. They won't do their homework. They won't take the time it takes to find out what their legislators been doing. Why do they deserve to be in there? Why should they move on? Think about all the legislators who get reelected with very little legwork. When they first got into office, they worked their buns off to get in there. And then once they get in, that incumbency is pretty tight. Now think about something here in California. We consistently, the people as a whole, we have the referendum option here in California. So we can put measures on the ballot. In other words, the illegal immigration, we had and passed a law twice that would make it an offense for them to be, if they were here illegally, we could lock them up. And what happened? The courts overturned it. We voted twice against gay marriage or same-sex marriage. The first time was a law. The second time was a constitutional referendum. Then what happens is we elect the most liberal legislators we can get our hands on. It makes absolutely no sense, and it shows me that people really aren't paying attention to what's going on in their state capitals and even with their federal government.
Absolutely. Joe, if people want to follow you, The Real Side with Joe Messina, tell us how they can listen and also follow you on your blog.
Well, you hop up on therealside.com and you can listen live and watch live when the show's on. Otherwise, it'll tell you what stations and times the show plays on. You've got my columns there, all kinds of stuff going on up on the website. You can find out more about me than you want to.
All right, well, I'm going to extend to you Merry Christmas wishes from our place up here to yours in California. God bless you, and come back and see us again in the future.
And Merry Christmas to you and your family as well.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Joe Messina, The Real Side with Joe Messina. Nice guy and very outspoken down there in California, where it's hard to be outspoken as a conservative. And we certainly appreciate him being on the air this morning. We'll have him back. I'll guarantee you that. Let's take a look and see what's going on over at Berry Equipment and Rental. 2 locations, one in Twin Falls and the other one in Burley. They're located in Twin Falls at 465 Addison Avenue West, and in Burley, brand new location at 159 West Highway 30. What have they got? They've got a 2012 S650 with a cab, heat, air conditioning. Oh my, this is fully loaded deluxe panel. I'll guarantee you this has got everything to it. It's got an attachment control, job clock, plan, maintenance, machine information. Everything else comes with an 80-inch Bobcat heavy-duty bucket. It only has 215 hours and was a local municipal trade-in. Oh my goodness, they're asking $39,950 for it. Call Eli right now today at 732-7368 or Nick at the Burley store at 678-7368. Always they've got the best in equipment at Berry Equipment and Rental in Twin Falls and Burley. And I understand that old Eli is a Green Bay Packer fan. That makes them all the better. Stop in or give them a call at Berry Equipment and Rental in Twin Falls and Burley. Really nice people. My phone is ringing, and that's an old message. I don't have to pay attention to that one. Gina's so good about texting me. Are you right there by your microphone for a second?
Yeah.
Little by little, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but little by little you are transforming me into a techie, and I'm not sure I like it.
You need to learn, mister. You need to learn.
God bless you, though. She sends me these little text messages, and the little dinger goes off on the phone. It goes, bring, and I just have to look over it, and it says, couldn't get a hold of Joe Messina, no answer. And then from that point on, Deanne went to work, and we got a new number for him, and everything was taken care of. I don't know what I would do without you and Deanne. God bless both of you, because you're very efficient.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And we've got Jack Euler on the line ready to go after the funeral announcements, and we do have a phone call on the air for you right now.
Should I take that call first?
Yes.
Okay, caller, go ahead real quick, please.
Yeah, Zeb, I just wanted to congratulate you on your Green Bay Packers. I'm serious. I was so proud of that comeback, because you don't know how bad I hate the Cowboys.
Well, you know, a lot of people feel that way. My son, I got to tell you this, my son is a Cowboy fan. And so he's sitting there up in Nampa on his cell phone, and every time the Cowboys scored in the first half, he was rubbing it into me. There's another one, Dad. You're going down farther, Dad. And then in the second half, when Green Bay started making their comeback and I started calling him, for some strange reason, my dear friend, he ignored my phone calls.
The phone was busy.
Yeah, it was busy. Hey, God bless you, and thanks for your call. Merry Christmas to you.
Congratulations. Merry Christmas.
All right, thank you. Merry Christmas. That was really funny. Jake kept calling me in the first half saying, the Cowboys are wiping you off the field, Dad. And then in the second half with the comeback, and they came back and won by 1 point. It's funny. He wouldn't answer his phone. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much. Don't forget the UPS store in Burley. They can print your holiday greetings for Christmas. That's right. They've got the greatest of holiday Christmas elves working there, and they offer a wide range of printed seasonal products like customized greeting cards, invitations, calendars, newsletters, everything. And they can make all your, your place cards, your party banners, everything right there at the UPS store. As a matter of fact, I got to call them when I get off the air this morning. Got a lot of things I need them to do at the UPS store, 322 East Main Street in Burley. Wonderful people wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Well, I know a gentleman that is a dear friend of mine, absolute dear friend of mine, and he's done so much for the state of Idaho and he's been on our program numerous times, talking about the wolves and the reintroduction of the wolves and how absolutely devastating it's been for our state. But there's another subject that he's also been very close to, and that's the possibly listing of the sage grouse, which would just absolutely tie up federal lands and stop ranching and grazing and everything else. Jack Euler, how are you this morning?
I'm doing pretty good.
Jack, I need to ask you right up front, what in the world, do you trust the federal government? Do you think that they'll even sit down and really study the plans on habitat change and everything? Or is it a slam dunk? They're just going to listen, but they're going to do it their way anyway?
My opinion is they're going to do it their way anyway. And there's quite a few other people that believe the same thing down in Nevada and other areas over in Wyoming, and people that I've worked with on sage grouse. But, Zeb, this is a political issue, and it started out as a real issue, but it has turned into a political issue, and the species are just being used as a tool to get us off from public land.
All right, you say it's a political issue, and it's a tool to get us off federal lands. Now, you and I have talked about this numerous times on this program, whether it's using a four-wheeler, whether it's riding a horse, whether it's going up backpacking, or whether it's going up camping, whatever. They, the bad guys, I'll say, in this equation, the federal government, want to get us off federal lands. They don't want us using anything. They don't want the ranchers with cattle. They don't want any mining. For what purpose? What do they want to do with the land? Just let it sit and vegetate and grow into worthlessness?
Well, essentially, and let me quote a rancher from northern Nevada, Cliff Gardner, who is a fifth-generation rancher down there in the Ruby Valley. And this man has just reams of information and history on the sage grouse and on ranching and on everything that deals with the supposed endangered species. But he's got information that goes back to 1830 something, and it's his opinion that in 1946 they started predator control with 1080 down there in Nevada, and there were 150 control sites, and there were grazing, there was thousands of cattle, there was thousands of sheep, and there were fences, and in I think it was 1968, predator control was stopped. 1080 was thrown out the window, and today in areas down there in Nevada, which is over 1 million acres, there are no grazing, whether it be sheep or whether it be cattle, and the fences have been taken out, and there are no sage grouse because they do not do predator control.
Absolutely. Now, Jack, you and I have talked about this numerous times on this program, and I find it, now I'm going to use, these are my words, if you think I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong, because I value your opinion. But I think it is complete lunacy if the sage grouse is endangered to have a hunting season for it and just abide and appease basically the hunters in that situation. I think if their bird is endangered, stop the hunting season, abide by some of the plans to restore habitat, etc., but don't close down the federal lands.
I agree totally, and you talk about the habitat, and so who is doing anything about the habitat? The Fish and Game is not doing anything about the habitat. BLM is not doing anything about the habitat. And this rancher down there, Cliff Gardner, says the habitat is there, but there is nothing on the habitat. But
with coyotes and predators, the birds that kill the sage grouse and get their nests, and nobody is doing anything about it. The environmental groups that push these things, it's the environmental groups. This is where it gets back to a political issue, because the environmental groups have pushed this through the courts and into our legislative bodies, and mostly in Washington, D.C., and that's where this comes from. Zeb, I mean, it is totally ridiculous. And to back up what I say, let me read you a little thing I got in the mail here not too long ago from the Sierra Club. And you know what we went through with the Sierra Club.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sierra Club states, and this is what they believe, that state wildlife agencies cannot do anything with wolves, and if they continue to be in control, there will be disastrous results. And that's what they believe. The Sierra Club does not believe that state wildlife agencies can provide protection for gray wolves. And so, you know, it's not only the gray wolves, it's the sage grouse, it's every species that they want to have listed to get the ranchers and everybody else off in public land.
Jack, this question is an opinion question, but you would know the answer to this far better than most. If they list the sage grouse as an endangered species, do you think that towns and cities and municipalities and the people that live in those towns and cities and municipalities understand the severity of the damage to our economy?
No, they don't. And they don't stand up and fight. Just look at, as an example of this, just look at what happened in the state of Idaho as a result of the timber industry going under in all these small communities in the state of Idaho as a result of the spotted owl. And that's the answer to your question.
What can be done, though, Jack, to stimulate and get people aware of the seriousness if this bird goes on the listing? No more ranching, no more mining, no more rural activity. Basically, they could also shut down a lot of the farming in the area, too, could they not?
That's completely true. And I got another article right here that talks about Forest Service, a new Forest Service travel plan that they're doing in northern Idaho, and they're going to, it's as a result of lawsuits filed by the Sierra Club and the Wild Rockies to supposedly close off areas, huge areas of northern Idaho for wildlife habitat. Well, if there's no wildlife, what good's the habitat? The habitat's there now. State agencies can and will manage if they have the opportunity.
Absolutely. Now, a very close friend of ours, I got to check with Gina real fast. Gina, did we have a call coming in? I wanted to check with you. I thought I heard one.
Yes, you do.
Okay, we'll take the call for Jack. Go ahead, caller, with your comment quickly, please. Go ahead.
Well, my thought is how come our state legislators and stuff like that, what are they doing and to combat this, and are they doing anything? I think this is state lands. We should be able to have the final say-so as to what's going on.
All right, Jack, respond to that. What about our state legislature?
Well, it's not state lands, as he says. It's the federal lands that we're talking about. And I was invited to the meeting, the first meeting that was held in Boise a couple of months ago with the legislative committee on trying to take over management of public lands within the borders of the state of Idaho. Now, will it happen with the makeup of the legislature as it is today? I don't think it will ever happen. There will not be a bill put forward this year in the legislature for that. we heard the professor from University of Idaho was the first speaker, and he took an hour to say how the forests need to be managed to be productive for habitat, for everything else. But they need to be managed, and so does all other public lands for the same purpose. And it just is not happening. I have been involved in managing properties for sage-grouse habitat, and there are sage-grouse all over that. And it means that you manage the sagebrush as well as other things. I mean, the water holes and all that stuff. But you manage the sagebrush. You never hear people talk about that. You never hear people talk about what is going on with the sagebrush. But sagebrush is just like other trees. Nothing grows under them hardly, and it has to be managed also to be productive for other things, for grasses. And when you start managing sagebrush, you help out the grasses for the grazing, for ranchers and other purposes. But if people do not wake up, we're in trouble. And we are in trouble right now because of these issues, and the sage-grouse is going to be a final nail in the coffin as far as I'm concerned.
You know, Jack, when you look at this situation with Obamacare and the way the federal government and this Obama administration have totally looked like a bunch of juveniles trying to run and implement this program across the United States, and they've absolutely made healthcare a disaster. And if people would just stop and think, with the implementation of having the sage-grouse listed and stopping all the use of federal lands with the federal government managing it, it's another disaster. I mean, it's time to wake up, smell the coffee, and tell the federal government to literally go to hell, because this is ruining our country.
Well, it sure is. I mean, I can give example after example after example of what is going on, and we're being taken out by the environmental groups is what it amounts to.
But where did they get all the upper hand? Where did they get all the power? Where did they get all the money? Where did they get all the strategy? Where did they get all the lawyers? Where did they get everything that's in their corner? What about people that make a living off the land? What about the people that live in the smaller rural communities that need the money for the taxes to go to the school systems and everything else? How come they're not listened to?
Because of the power that these people do yield with the dollars. And where are they getting their dollars? They're getting them from us. And this letter I referred to from the Sierra Club, what this is an appeal to the people to send money to the Sierra Club to fight the wolf issue and fight those who are trying to get a delisting on the wolves. And they get money sent to them for this, and on this letter, I think they asked for $25, $50, $100, or $1,000, and they just use this, and then they are able to, through the legislature or through the political system in Washington, D.C., to access our tax dollars for their attorneys on these lawsuits. And that's how their lawsuits are paid for, is with mine and your tax dollars. They're whipping us with our tax dollars.
You know, you mentioned earlier in the program, and I want to elaborate on it a little bit. A couple of years ago, Jack and I both tried to encourage some of the Sierra Club members to come on this program and discuss their issues, and they were so cowardly, they hung up the phone. They would not come on the show unless I guaranteed them that we would have an impartial, quote-unquote, host asking the questions between them and me. They're chickens, they're cowards, and they're absolute punks when it comes to standing up for their own goals and activities. They don't have the courage, right, Jack?
Well, Plus, we had to they wanted us to give them the questions ahead of time so they could go over them and review them to see if they were okay with them to be asked.
Yeah, but it just shows you that they've got to have the upper hand in everything. They can't do anything ad-lib. They can't give answers straight off the cuff. They're so afraid that they're going to be pointed out for what they really are, cowardly and liars.
Well, that's completely true. I mean, I've sat at the table with these groups. I've sat at the table and negotiated with these groups. I have come to an agreement with environmental groups on environmental issues, and that agreement is as good as it, or as long as it takes the door to shut when everybody leaves the room and they go off in a different direction. It's just like the wolf issue. It is in print how many wolves are acceptable, and we threw in the state management plan, we threw in a few extra to guarantee that these things would still be there, and yet they're still sending out letters like this. But going back to the sage grouse is going to be a real hit. And I stopped in, I don't know if people have read the article in the paper this morning about sage grouse, but I stopped and talked to Grant Gerber last week when I was in Elko, and he's frustrated over this, and Grant Gerber's been at this for a long time. He's about the same age as I am, and he says, I don't know what we're going to do.
You know, I have a lot of respect for Grant Gerber. He's been on my program many times. He's also one of my best friends coming out of Elko County. That concerns me a lot when he thinks we don't know what we're going to do, and I believe that he's also convinced that the federal government's already made up their mind to go ahead and list the sage grouse, and all of this that they're doing right now is lip service. That's all it is just lip service.
Well, I was on the governor's task force for sage grouse, and we came up with a plan. You know, there's good things and there's bad things in this plan, but it is a plan that could save sage grouse and save a lot of different things. And BLM was at every one of those meetings. So was the Forest Service. But when those meetings were completed after 4 months, we met about twice a week for 4 months. And when they were completed, BLM went off in a different direction completely. And I'm so frustrated with what BLM did after those meetings were over, because they have a different agenda. And as far as I'm concerned, the agenda is to get us off of public lands. And it talks about in the paper about this meeting in Elko this last week, and they want, BLM, or the people down there, want the community input on how best to save the troubled bird without federal listing. Now, if anybody has suggestions, I would suggest they call the county commissioners in Elko County and give that information to them. If they want Grant Gerber's cell phone number, I can give them that. But we need to be on top of it. But, you know, the first time I met with Grant Gerber over this issue down in Elko, we talked for probably 45 minutes, and I asked him, do you think they're going to be listed? And he just looked at me and he said yes. And so that's what's going to happen in 2015.
Jack, do you think that there's any inclination that if enough people got involved, your cities, your towns, your county commissioners of all the various counties, if enough people got involved and really started a revolt, an absolute revolt against this incompetency and idiocy of the federal government, that they would have to listen?
Well, I don't know. I used to have faith in some things, but, you know, I don't know if I have faith in some good things happening in good places. I just get so frustrated with what is going on and how it continues to go on. And if people will just go to the hills and see the roads that are blocked off today that weren't blocked off last year, or the year before, that is an example of what's going to happen. And the timber industry is a good example of what took place as a result of the listing of a bird that was not endangered, and all the information that was put out about it was baloney. But what did it do to our economy in the state of Idaho by closing down all the timber sawmills in the small communities? It affected many, many people. It affected a lot of dollars. It affected a lot of people, and it still is today. And these things just go on and on and on. And they have now listed a plant up by Payette, and as a result, they say that the only place in the country this plant lives is on a 10-acre area up by Payette.
Right.
And as a result, they're going to the fence about 1,600 acres. BLM's going to do this, and then they're going to close off all the roads for about 6,000 more acres. Now, these are the things that just keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
Absolutely. Jack, I've got to run, and I wish I had more time, but I want to say thank you so much for fitting us into your schedule this morning to come on the program. You know that you're not only one of our very best friends, but you just are a wealth of information. Thank you. God bless you, and Merry Christmas, my dear friend. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas to you, and I am not going to say Happy Holidays.
Attaboy.
See you later.
Bye, Jack. Thank you much. One of my dearest friends, Jack Euler, and I have a lot of respect for him. Oh, boy, do I ever. Thank you, Jack, for all you do. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of winter traction tires, and, of course, all the tires that are pinned for studs, get you through all the ice, the snow, and the muck. They can help you, and they've got all the batteries. Go on in and have a free battery test to make sure your battery is going to perform and get the job done. If not, they've got all the batteries that you need. Tire chain, snow wheels, best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts. Woo! The list goes on and on. The service for safe driving goes on and on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wow. Good to be back. Thank you so much. God's blessings to you and your family. And, of course, as we say on this program, Merry Christmas, everybody. Get your Christmas shopping done. Enjoy this time of the season with your families. We'll be back here tomorrow at 8:06. Saddle the horse and ride for 3 hours until 11. Zeb at the Ranch on KBAR 1230 a.m. and then streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. Have a good one. Remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be.